It was well past noon when I arrived at the academy, so naturally there were no students outside. Morning classes should be ending soon if I remember their schedule right. And indeed, the bell rang at nearly the exact moment I stepped onto the campus. Students came streaming out of their classrooms, stoic and silent as ever. The place really never changed, did it? Girls their age had been murdered, and even fellow students had gone missing, yet their worlds kept on turning. Suddenly a loud crack resounded through the hallway. What was that? I looked around until I caught sight of a crowd by one of the freshman classrooms. At their center was... She was staring down what appeared to be a freshman. The girl was holding her cheek, eyes welling with tears. It seemed Orihime had slapped her. She rebuked the girl, her face drawn grimmer than I'd ever seen before. I knew what the rules here were, but I still couldn't let the incident slide. Part of the crowd strode over to Orihime. Orihime tried acting as collected as ever, but I didn't miss the restless darting of her eyes. Orihime chided the freshman and swept right past me. She abruptly stopped and turned around upon hearing me call out to her. Orihime interrupted me before swiveling back and resuming her march. A rumor, huh? Whatever it was, it clearly ruffled Orihime's feathers. I entered the staff room to find Saiki reading a newspaper in front of the heater. Saiki put his paper down and rose to greet me. I skimmed Saiki's newspaper. The press seemed to be gossiping about the potential connection between Kei Koizumi and Yumi Takagawa's murders. Saiki inquired no further than that. You like the ones from the hot springs? Saiki cocked his head. It seemed the teachers didn't know anything about that rumor. I settled it. I'd have to get this information from a student somehow. A walking headache stormed into the prep room not too long after I'd taken roost here. Yeah! Unfortunately, my comment only served to intensify the gleam in Tojiko's eyes. Behavior made me want to tear my hair out. Not that I planned on scolding her for it or anything, though. Giving them the cold shoulder was the best way to make these types talk. Hook, line, and sinker. The urge to tell me was killing her, I just knew it. I hadn't told Tojiko the particulars of my case. As I feigned ignorance. Amazing right there. Tojiko popped her fist victoriously. Damn it, I've lost this round. Don't care, anyway. That must have been what the commotion from earlier was about.
行方不明になっている2人は。
多分ね。
そうか。
What you mean? This rumor had been circulating even before Yui Nishizono vanished in January. But then who started it?
少しは役に立った？
そうだな。考える材料にはなったぞ、トジコ。
だから。
I decided to visit Nene in the infirmary once Tojiko left. Fuck yeah. The hallways were as soulless as ever, even though afternoon classes had yet to begin. I shimmied down to the first floor only to bump into Orihime on the landing.
時坂先生。
どうしましたか？
Orihime stopped on the stair right in front of me, not moving a muscle.
あの、
Something was definitely off. The composure she always wielded like a master was nowhere to be found.
あの、
何ですか？
I spoke in the most kind and patient tone I could muster. Her face made it clear that whatever she wished to discuss was no laughing matter. But I knew all I could do was wait for her to talk. Trying to force it out of her would have only had the opposite effect.
あの、
She appeared to be terrified of something. Could it have been that rumor?
月島さん？
Orihime jolted in place when I tried calling out to her.
なんでもありません。
She slogged right by me with her head hung as if she couldn't bear to look me in the eye.
月島さん、話したくなったら俺のところにおいで。
I spent some time watching Orihime walk away. In the end, she gave no indication as to whether she'd heard me.
あれ？時坂先生じゃないか。
No! Get out of here! I want to be alone with Hot Nurse. I was greeted by Toko the moment I entered the infirmary.
また寝ていたのか？
Her eyes were only partway open, as if she'd just been dreaming.
しっかりと夜に眠っているはずなんだけれどね。
She brought her hand to her mouth to stifle a yawn.
まだ眠いや。
寝すぎじゃないのか？
そうかもしれないね。
Toko rubbed her temples as if trying to force away any drowsiness.
あ、そうだ。明日美術館に行くだろ。
Haha!
覚えているよね。
Yeah, I totally remembered. I would have totally fucking forgotten.
ああ、マミヤなんとかの古典だろ？
覚えていないじゃないか。マミや心臓だよ。
Toko chuckled.
探偵さんは興味のないことに関しては物覚えが悪いんだね。
そういうつもりではないんだがな。
But still true. But it was true that I wasn't all that interested in the exhibit, exactly. I believe some open space needed to be in one's heart for them to truly appreciate art. And unfortunately, I had neither that nor the necessary sensibilities. I heard the door to the infirmary open just then, revealing Nene.
あら、時坂先生じゃないですか。どうなさったんです？
ちょっと先生にお尋ねしたいことがあっ。
私にです。
Nene glanced at Toko out of the corner of her eye.
どうやら私はお邪魔虫のようだね。それじゃ時坂先生。
Yeah, you are the third wheel. Get out. Leave me alone with Hot Nurse. They're better. Listen, if you're gonna make me butt fuck the damn coroner, I better get something out of Hot Nurse. I swear to God.
あら、今日は随分と素直だったわね。
いつもここで休んでいるんですか？
最近は多いわね。休み時間などにやってきては軽く仮眠をとっているようよ。
どこか体が悪いんですかね？
さあ、どうなんでしょうね。
養護教諭なのに。
あ、ごめんなさい。あの年頃だと。
Nene briefly shot me an apologetic look.
それで聞きたいこととは何かしら。
What that mouth do? I mean, huh?
あの年頃でいろいろあるということの延長でもあるんですが。
それはいくら事件を調査しているとはいえ、外部の男性に見せるものではありませんから。
必要な情報なんです。お願いします。
何ですか？
妊娠。
I was almost certain that was what linked all these cases.
それは一番答えにくい問題ですね。
それでも重要なんです。
こういった件はこの学院では禁忌とされているのよ。わかるでしょ？
Yeah, despite her protest, Nene pulled some documents out of a drawer with a resigned sigh. Listen, Nene, alright, if you want some, payment for these records, like, I'd be happy to pay you.
西園さんと今村さんね。
堕胎手術を行った病院は？
中野にある朽木病理学研究所よ。さっきまでここにいた朽木さんのおじい様が所長を務めていらっしゃるわ。
The thick Platons. Alright, okay. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I bet if we go look at fucking good old Koizumi and what's her fuck Takigawa, guess what we're gonna find where they got their abortions done, yeah? Mm-hmm. So it's still either Toko or Fumiya who's deeply involved with this. I don't know which one. I could see it being either or. Either one's the villain, one's kind of just there for the... unfortunately is a part of it, or vice versa, or they're both a part of it, potentially. Fumiya had told me that his father ran a large hospital in Nakano. Why was that coming into play now? Speaking of Nakano, map! Where's Nakano? Is that on my map at all? Is Nakano a town and not a prefecture? Because that is definitely possible. I just want to check. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, not seeing Nakano anywhere. So I'm guessing that's got to be a town and not a prefecture. Alright. Interesting.
産科の山之内先生が担当のはずよ。ここへも定期検診などで来てもらっているわ。
山之内。
赤崎先生、申し訳ありませんが、その山之内先生に連絡を取っていただけませんか？
構わないわよ。おそらく病院にいるでしょうから。
よろしくお願いします。
I left the infirmary and headed for the staff room to inform Seiki of my impending departure.
おや、時坂先生。
Kusaka greeted me from beside the heater as I stepped in.
坂先生、佐伯教頭はありますか？
先ほどお手洗いに行ったようですから。
Kusaka took a pill out of a white paper bag and popped it in his mouth.
風邪ですか？
最近頭痛がひどくて体調が優れないんですよ。
He poured hot water from a kettle into a cup.
空いている時間に中野にある病院へ行っているんですが、なかなか良くなりませんよ。
Kusaka smiled feebly.
中野？それは朽木病理学研究所ですか？
ああ、よくご存知で。そうか、朽木さんとよく話されていますからね。
まあ、そんなところです。
Couldn't have him knowing I'd only just learned about it.
時坂先生、気をつけてくださいね。
Whoa, you didn't just hit me with the tread carefully line, huh? Easy there, Heisenberg.
ここしばらくは学年主任の先生が長期出張で留守にしているから大丈夫ですけど、戻ってきたら学生と話なんてとてもできませんから。
そうなんですか？
Well, that wasn't good. I was willing to bet it was precisely because of restrictions like this the student body was rebelling behind the school's back.
ああ、そうだ。草加先生は
I figured it'd be best to cover all my bases by asking whatever stuff I could.
黒い卵ですか？内容までは知りませんが、学生がそんな言葉を使っていたのは聞いたことがありますね。
それは
さあ、そこまでは。廊下でただ聞こえてきただけですから。
そうですか。ありがとうございます。
いえ、お礼をされるようなことはない。
Suck flashed me a faint grin.
おや、時坂先生、どうかしましたか？
Perfect. Psyche was back.
ああ、佐伯教頭。自分はこれから所用がありますので。
ねえ、存じてます。お気をつけて。
それでは、失礼します。
I bowed to Psyche and Kusaka for leaving before swiftly striding out of the school. After boarding the Chuo line to Nakano and taking a little stroll, I eventually came across a huge hospital. The gate post read Kichiki Pathological Research Institute. It was way bigger than I'd imagined. People steadily streamed in and out of the entrance like a colony of ants. Nope, nothing ventured, nothing gained. It's quite as a tomb inside. That was only natural, since it was a hospital and all, but I couldn't help but find it eerily similar to Opa Girls Academy's halls. The passersby's eyes were devoid of all dreams, hope, or ambition. Yet another uncanny parallel.
これ、そちらは関係者以外入ってはな。
The voice from behind me made me freeze in place.
見たところ、患者というわけでもなし。
I spun around and found an elderly man in a doctor's coat, skeptically sizing me up.
すみません。山之内先生に用件がありまして来たのですが。
山之内くん。ああ、君が大場女学院から来た方かね。
ええ、そうです。
It seemed Nene had done as I'd asked and called ahead. The only issue that remained was whether or not he knew I was a detective.
立ち話もなんだ。こちらへ来たまえ。
The man led me further down the hallway and through a door. The door plate read director's office. Wait, director? Then he's...
失礼します。朽木さんでよろしいのですよね。
所長の朽木安忠だ。君のことは聞いている。探偵だそうだね。
え
Well, answer that
君
question.
が何を調べようがこちらの感知するところではない。ただし、
え、それはもちろんです。
That was a given.
用事があるのは山之内くんだったね。今案内させるからしば
Why?
らく待って
Do you
い
have
た
to
ま
go speak to Yamanouchi first and be like, hey, here's the things you can and cannot talk about? Yeah? After giving me that whole spiel, Dr. Kichiki left his office. Director Kichiki. Took a look around while I waited patiently. A giant painting was mounted on the wall. There was a card printed below explaining it was titled Casitis by Shinzo Mamiya. Naturally, I recognized the artist's name after Toko had given me hell earlier for not remembering it.
こういう絵を描くのか。
間宮先生の絵に興味があるのですかな。
Dr. Kichiki had gotten back faster than I expected.
ええ、まあ。
彼は私の古い友人でね。この絵も彼から直接譲ってもら
Wow,
った
the
ものだ
thick
よ。
plotting's even more, goddamn. Wanna pat yourself on the back a little more there? The doctor accompanying Director Kichiki awkwardly cleared his throat.
ああ、すまない。麻酔科の医師で、私がいない時の所長代理も務める村瀬君だ。
村瀬直樹です。
Oh god, you look evil as fuck, dude. Come on. Bro. Look at that man and tell me he's not straight up evil. Like, I'll admit, Director Kichiki here, he's got some evil vibes to him. He looks like a, that elderly old man that's like got a hidden secret or whatnot. This dude, this motherfucker looks like Lao Gui from fucking Yakuza 0. Let me pull up a picture of that. Yeah. This motherfucker, well, at least the international version obviously doesn't look like the Chinese version for sure. This motherfucker straight up looking like Lao Gui. Okay, just with longer hair. He's like Lao Gui with Nishiki's hair. Like, this motherfucker look evil as shit, dude. This motherfucker look like a whole ass villain. No way, dude. No way. Ain't no way this man ain't connected in some way, shape, or form. He may not be the murderer. He may be the murderer. I don't know, but ain't no way. Like, if like the murderer is someone who's getting information from the hospital's records, this man is helping him out. This man is absolutely helping them in some way, shape, or form. This man is at the very least an accomplice and a knowing one at that. Now this motherfucker evil as shit. You cannot tell me to not look in that face and be like, fucking evil! Homeboy, a whole ass villain off rip. Go on.
時坂です。こちらこそよろしく。
産科の山之内先生のところへ案内します。こちらへどうぞ。まったく、どういうつもりなんだ、うちの人。
Honestly cursed under his breath the moment he was out of Director Kichiki's earshot.
部外者の。しかも探偵ごときにカルテを見せるなどこ
一応警察の委託を受けている。
Not that I expected that to lift his spirits at all.
ほらここだ。さっさと終わらせてさっさと帰ってくれ。
Honestly turned and lumbered off as soon as he'd finished escorting me to the obstetrics ward.
随分と嫌われ
Yeah, I'm telling you, motherfucker's a whole ass villain. Not that I was fazed or bothered by it. Now I could see him being I could also see him just being a total red herring. Like, let's design a guy who looks so villainous just in appearance. You look in his eyes and you're like, that motherfucker's evil, right? Let's make him real grumpy or enraged, right? He doesn't trust the detectives. He's really not about giving out medical records to detectives. He's really not about that life, right? really make him even more suspicious. But in reality, he's just, trying to adhere by the confidentiality rules and whatnot. If I had 10 yen for every person irritated by a detective sticking their nose where it wasn't wanted, I wouldn't need Ikari to clean up the office.
失礼します。こちら山内先生のお部屋ですか？
はい、そうですけど。
The woman in the room gave me an inquisitive stare.
大場女学院から参りました時坂と言います。
ああ、学生さんのことでお話があるとおっしゃっていた方ですね。私は山之内小春、ここで参加を担当しております。
Koharu gave me a bow.
早速ですが要件に入りましょう。こちらで西園結衣と今村遥の堕胎手術を行ったのは確かですか？
はい、そうです。お二人ともこちらで処置しました。
Koharu didn't sound particularly pleased about that.
最近多いんです。あの年頃の少女が妊娠してしまうという事態が。
警察から？それはもしかして殺された小泉慶と滝川由美の件ではありませんか？
なぜそれを？
Damn, Wozmi works fast. I only told him about the lead this morning.
こちらからあちらに頼んでいたんですよ。もしかしたらという感じだったのですが。
そうですか。確かにそのお二方もこちらで処置して。
大丈夫ですよ。こちらの病院が事件に関与しているとは思う。
そうですか。
Koharu heaved a sigh of relief.
それほどまでに多いんですか？
ええ。妊娠まではいかなくてもその可能性があるという相談もあります。その大場女学院の学生でも。
そうですか。
It sure was hard picturing the students of that school acting out.
おそらく学院へ幾度か検診に出向いていますから、それで私に相談を持ちかけているのだとは思いますけれど。
他に気になったことなどはありますか？
そうですね。皆さんあまりはっきりということはありませんけれど、どうやら買
Yeah,
収
because like I mentioned,
あるいは
because they were
強
setting
姦
up.
の末
Okay,
の妊
yes,
娠であ
ma'am.
る可
Okay,
能
finish
性があり
talking.
ます。
You good? Okay. Cause yeah, like when they were talking about like Yui and how like her mother had passed away and she was living on her own and whatnot. Automatically, I'm assuming like okay, so she's got to do something to pay the bills, right? Then that's exactly the something I was assuming was prostitution. And then yeah, fucking 50s Japan, like just post-war Japan, especially like immediately after the war, like yeah, that last one was a bit frequent.
買収
Definitely heard some horror
です
stories.
か。
恋人との成功の場合とは明らかに態度が違うんです。初めて生命を宿した不
Hmm.
安ではなく、名も知れぬ男の子供をはらんでしまった恐怖、
Koharu scrunched her eyebrows, seemingly fighting back tears.
そういったものを彼女たちから感じるんです。
わかりました。
I departed the office after that. There was an ashtray in the corner of the hallway, so I lit up a cigarette. The victim's genitals had exhibited no signs of sexual assault. Ergo, the killer wasn't a rapist. However, something still bugged me. These girls had been in the same age range from the same schools. So with that in mind, it was less likely they'd been raped, and more that they'd been part of a prostitution ring. In that case, what if someone brought those girls together and forced them to whore themselves out? I ruminated over the facts and theories as I made my way outside. Asking Ozumi for more details was a must, so I decided to call him up later and have him drop by Moonworld or something. I spotted a man standing in front of the hospital. He had a large bag slung under his arm, eyes restlessly darting about. Who was he? Whatever he was doing, he looked awfully sketchy. By no stretch of the imagination did he appear to work here. The man scanned the area for a little longer before eventually leaving. What the hell was up with that guy?
いらっしゃい、時坂くん。
京子、ちょっと奥の席使わせてもらうからな。
Though the place didn't give me any customers, I didn't want any prying ears eavesdropping on my conversation with Uozumi.
ええ、いいわよ。
That said, the table wasn't particularly unique compared to the other parts of the cafe anyway.
いらっしゃいませ、時坂さん。
Hatsune brought me a glass of water.
ありがとう。コーヒーもらえるかな。
はい、かしこまりました。
Hatsune turned around and headed for the counter. It seemed she'd finished learning the ropes. I quenched my thirst with a sip of water. Clearly, I was a bit tired from all the legwork I'd done.
あら、大住くん、いらっしゃい。
おう、
Ozumi shuffled on
こっ
in.
ちだ。
わかったら
No shit. He sat across from me with a snort.
レイジてめえ病院を突き止めたって。
偶然だ。うちの学院の学生もそこを使っていたようだからな。
あの二人か。
ああ、
The two of us used deliberately vague wording in case anyone was listening in.
そこはどうなんだ。信頼できるところ。
まだわからない。
そうか。
コーヒーお持ちしました。
Hatsune timidly interrupted our conversation.
ああ、ありがとう。
お仕事頑張ってください。
Hatsune gave us a light bow before returning to her duties.
あれは
Ozumi stared quizzically at Hatsune.
高城の仕事ぶりを見たことがあるんだろうさ。
ああ、通りで仕事中だとわかるわけだ。
Ozumi offloaded a small hill of sugar in his coffee before turning back to me.
その仕事の話だ。被害者の親族について当たっていたんだが、
Interesting. Hit me with it.
どうだった？
まずは小泉圭だ。父親が新興宗教の
Wow.
教祖まがいなことをやっていてな。教団への寄付金を横領したりと、随分悪どい真似をしていたらしい。
Right. And the punishment they were like selling religious objects and whatnot. Right. That was the one she was involved in. Kei Koizumi. Yeah, that was the girl at the cemetery. Yeah. Uh-huh. Ozumi flipped through his notebook.
そして滝川由美の母親だが、
Yep.
新宿で滝宮とかいう占い師をしていたらしい。
And that's the one that Takachiro was asking around about. Okay.
こちらも壺を法外な値段で売ったりして被害者から訴えられているな。
I opened my notebook and checked the victim's causes of death, along with the corresponding passages from Dante's Divine Comedy.
我より先にシモニアを行い、引き入れられて石の裂け目に隠るる者を応し。
なんだそいつは。
シモニアとは生物売買、お布施の横領なども含まれる。そして妖術を使った牧者は顔。
だからなんだってんだ。
ダンテの神曲にある記述だ。犯人はこれを読み、見立て殺人を行ったんだろう。
ってことはそれを知ってる奴が犯人なのか。
遺留品の記述は岩波文庫から昭和27年に出ている。
被疑者の中でそれを読んでいる奴が怪しいだろうが。
じゃあ聞くが、被疑者とは一体誰を指して言っているんだ？
Unless I was mistaken, we still didn't have a clear profile of the killer, let alone an outline.
それを今から探すんだろうが。
怪しい奴がいればだけどな。
いないこともない。西園由衣に男がいると朝言ったよな。そいつのことが分かったぞ。名前は森夜月。
カメラマンね。そんなのが仕事になるのか？
最近はなるらしいぞ。戦地でだって写真を撮っていたやつはいただろう。
Ozumi lit a cigarette.
でだ、こいつが西園由衣の写真を撮っているところが何度か目撃されている。
Like, consensually, or...?
単なる被写体とカメラマンの関係だったんじゃないのか？
どうだかな。雰囲気は淡々としていたらしいが、まだ調べねえとわからん。
Ozumi paused for a moment, then pulled a small photo out of his notebook.
そういや、森は明日上野にある美術館で仕事があると取引先の雑誌社が言っていたぞ。
What a coincidence!
なあ、魚住。
My eyes were glued to Ozmi's photo.
こいつ、さっき見たばかりだぞ。
Oh, the sketchy guy at the hospital. He was the man who'd been loitering in front of the Kichiki Pathological Research Institute.
話はしたのか。
いや、遠くから見ただけだが。
What had he been doing there? Was it merely a coincidence, or was there more to it than met the eye?
明日捕まえて話を聞き出すべきだ。
そうだな。ちょうど明日は俺も上野に行くからな。
高城のところか。
いや、九段の美術館さ。
よくそんな余裕があるな。
この事件だけじゃなく、もう一件仕事を抱えているからな。
I made that excuse while recalling the raven-haired girl who talked like a guy.
それじゃあ、ごちそうさん。
I closed the door and left the cafe.
おっと、すみません。
I avoid bumping into someone by the skin of my teeth.
あれ朽木さんではありませんか。
どうも。
Oh, that Kichiki,
Konnichiwa.
gotcha. My would-be hit-and-run victim turned out to be none other than Chizuru Kichiki.
先日はお宅まで訪問してしまい、
いえ、こちらこそ。
Chizuru bowed her head.
すみません。ちょっと急いで中野へ行かなくてはなりませんので。
What's going on over at Nakano?
ああ、それは申し訳ありませんでした。
ええ、それでは。
Chizuru bowed over and over as she sauntered toward the station. The sun was rather low in the western skies. I have work to do, but where should I start? That is a great question. That is a great question. I have work to do, but where should I start? Well, we've already been at Moon World. We've already had our sip of coffee there. How about we scout out the place? That's what I'm thinking. How about we scout out the art museum? Scout it out. See what's going on there, yeah? Yeah, let's go scout it out. I stopped by Ueno.
おや、
It appeared the art museum was closed. The information board near the entrance read, closed for renovation until March 13th. They're probably timing it to coincide with the unveiling of the new exhibit tomorrow. Realizing there was nothing I could do about that, I shrugged and decided to hit the road. Okay. Fair enough. Then y'all know I'm going right back to Shinjuku. I gotta go back to the station. I arrived at Shinjuku. Over a patrol of the station square turned up nothing suspicious. No time to waste around here. I arrived at Takadano Baba. Sure hope Natsume's in. You hope so? I don't know, bud, after last
お
time.
や、時坂藩。朝来たばかりやないですか。
Natsume was eating udon in the autopsy room.
よくこんなところで飯を食う気になりますね。
牛鍋だってここでするんよ。今度いかがです？
いや、遠慮します。
枠を取るって指紋ですやろ。
She placed her chopsticks down and reached for a piece of paper.
まずは時坂藩が持ってきた手紙。これには3人分の指紋がついておりました。
あの手紙を持っていた佐藤歩と手紙を出した西園結のものですね。
指紋からお名前まではわかりまへん。おいで、仏さんの口から出てきた切れ端からは
それが
この段階じゃうちにはどっちかわかりまへん。まあ、それが最初のバラバラの指紋と一致しとったから、おのずと明らかなんやろうけど。
Wait, what?
ちょっと待ってください。じゃあバラバラ遺体の身元が西園結だって
そうなるかもしれん。
Natsume sighed.
ニコイチっていうのが一番可能性高いやろけどね。
頭部と腕が別人のものという意味ですか。
If that were true, it'd all add up.
うちの見立てやとね。母屋がどう結論づけるかは分からへんや。
警察本部だってバカじゃない。おそらくその線も抑えているとは思いますが。
However, that meant we had finally located the missing Yui Nishizono. In a sense, anyway. One could say that I'd finally fulfilled my obligation to Mr. Psyche. However,
まだまだかかりそうだな。
I couldn't shake the feeling that my job wouldn't be over until I closed the book on these serial killings. True. I sat in my room puffing on a cigarette after a refreshing bath. Dinner had been stew. Yukari had made it like usual, but it seemed like she'd been going through the motions this time. Maybe she was tired as well. She must have had a ton weighing on her. Maybe I should clean up after dinner every once in a while. I rose to my feet with that thought in mind when suddenly Yukari opened the door and stepped right in.
ああ、ゆかり、ちょうどよかった。
兄さん、
Yukari didn't even let me finish.
なんだ、もう洗い物は終わっていたのか。
違います兄さん。
I could tell Yukari wasn't kidding around.
どうした？
お疲れなのではありませんか？
そんなことはないぞ。この程度でへばってちゃ、とても探偵なんてやってられんよ。
To be perfectly honest, I really wasn't all that tired. Physically, anyway. If anything was exhausted, it was my psyche. The failure to identify the culprit had been taking its toll on me. I was on edge, worrying that I'd wake up only only to hear about another dead girl Yukare's age. But I knew I was this close to figuring out the culprit's name. So close I could feel it in the marrow of my bones even.
無茶はしないでくださいね。
そう心配するなよ。
ですが、兄さんはいつも本心を表に出そうとはしませんから。
俺が？
もちろん私の勘違いかもしれません。でも今の兄さんを見ているのは
ゆかり。
私は兄さんの支えになることができるのならそれだけでいいのです。
お前には今までも十分に支えられてきたよ。
I gently ruffled Yukare's hair.
仕事柄かもしれないな。本心を外に表さないのはずっとそんな生き方をしてきたからすぐには直せそうにない。
兄さん。
だからしばらくの間は我慢してくれないか。
ええ、もちろんです。
Yukare backed up.
それでは兄さん。
ああ、おや。
兄さんも夜更かしせず早く眠ってくださいね。
Yukare left my room after murmuring those parting words. Canto 5. Monster's Trick. Ooh, interesting. Up. Here, let me just move out of the way for you. Now go ahead.
美術館を巡る
Wait, are there like bottles?
初めて見る絵、写真で見たことのある絵、いろいろ描き上げたばかりのようにみずみずしい絵、色あせ元の色彩を失ってしまった絵。最初はどんな色だったのだろう。どんな意図を持ってその色をカンバスに乗せたのだろう。
Are those like paint tubes?
ある一枚の絵の前で私は
I don't, the brightness on my main monitor, I can't really make out what those are in the corner, but like my left monitor, the brightness is down quite a bit. It's like, I think it's paint tubes. Obviously you have the palette, the art palette, or whatever the fuck they call it. Isn't it called a palette? No. Maybe? The thing they hold, the easel is what holds the canvas, and then they hold the wooden board with all the paints on it and whatnot. It's called a palette, right? God damn it. Google! Art palette. Art palette. Yeah, it's called a palette. I fucking knew it. The rigid wooden board. Yes. Okay. I don't know, I've just heard the word palette be used for so many things, I just really had to double check that one. I woke up feeling like crap. I could have sworn I'd had an awful nightmare. The details had long since escaped me. Worse, I was drenched in sweat, so clammy that one would be forgiven for thinking it was July, not March. Knowing me, it'd probably been another nightmare about people dying. Death was a repulsively common sight for me during my time as a soldier and a police officer, yet I never got used to it. Yukari opened the door and peered in.
兄さん、起きましたか？
ああ、大丈夫だ。
朝ごはんはどうしますか？
先に食べててもいいぞ。どうせ先に学院へ行くんだろう。
Oh, today's a field trip, dummy.
なら兄さん、覚えていないんですか？
え？あ、今日だった。
仕方のない方ですね。準備はしておきますから、早く起きてきてくださいね。
Damn, what a close call. I definitely would have reported in for work if Yukari hadn't reminded me. Oh, honestly, I should have been breaking my back investigating instead of chaperoning some students, given the way things had heated up. And again, there was a suspect who'd be at the very same museum today. Yorutsuki Mori, the man spotted with Yui Nishizono. I was going to have to stay on my toes around him so Yukari and Toko didn't suffer for it on the chance he was our man. At any rate, it was time to go.
全員揃ったか？
見ればすぐにわかると思います。
Toko wasted no time exhibiting her unvarnished distaste for me.
3人だけですからね。
先生らしさを発揮したいんだろうさ。
Toko smirked teasingly.
いいから行くぞ。
The four of us marched as one into the museum, with me footing the fare. The walls were lined with framed paintings.
どこ？ こちら側から見ていくとしようか。ええ。
The bear made a beeline for one of the walls.
ゆかりは
However, by the time I turned around, my sister had already vanished into thin air. She must have gone off to check the exhibits on her own. But what if she didn't? But what if she didn't, though? Not Yukari.
なんだか誰も彼も我が道を行くといった感じだな。
Seriously, it was like they hadn't had a scrap of unity. Just then, I felt a pair of eyes boring into me. Someone who worked here, maybe. Turned around to find a woman with pale skin looking at me.
何か
It was only when I called out to her that I finally noticed. She appeared to be a foreigner. She cocked her head. Maybe she didn't understand Japanese.
日本語わかりますか？
何？
That was Japanese just now, right?
ステラ。
ステラ？それが君の名前？
She nodded.
なあステラ。マミや心臓について教えてくれない？
心臓？
ああ。俺は
そう。
Stella nodded and approached the painting.
これはマミや心臓が戦前に描いた作品です。繊細な筆使いでありながら大胆な色彩が海外でも高い評価を受けました。
Stella's broken language suddenly became as fluent as any Japanese natives.
そしてこちらが戦後広島で描いたというものです。彼は原爆の痕跡が残る街を何ヶ月も歩き、この絵を描いたそうです。
ステラ？
はい。
Stella turned to me quizzically, almost like she'd snapped out of whatever trance she'd been
い
under.
や、詳しいんだな。
お仕事だから。
Stella nodded a bit before resuming her explanation.
今回のマミや心臓展は再生をテーマにした作品を主に展示しています。大阪や倉敷の美術館が所蔵しているものをはじめ、間宮氏本人が所蔵していた絵画も特別に展示させていただいています。
When she put it in perspective like that, it finally dawned upon me that most of these paintings depicted either life, death, or both. The reason most of the relatively recent ones had an edge to them was surely because they'd been painted after the war. There was a fixation in them that appeared borderline obsessive.
こっち。
Stella suddenly hauled me off, dragging me to a large piece of artwork at the edge of the exhibit, where we found Toko. And that was the cover art for the game initially. The box art, anyway.
これは
I don't even know how to begin describing this painting. It appeared to depict a woman who was just about to be born from an egg. Toko was absolutely spellbound by it, and before I even knew it, I started unconsciously comparing Toko's face to the woman in the painting. What the hell? They're damn near identical. It's almost like...
これが終戦間際に描かれた間宮心臓の最高傑作とも言われる空の少女。
Roll credits. Stella quietly recited those facts as though she were explaining the details surrounding a solemn rite to me.